Hey everyone, thanks for joining us. My name is Mitchell Smith. I'm VP Investor Relations at Brixton Metals. With us today we have Gary Thompson, Chairman and CEO of Brixton Metals. Christina Anstey is VP Exploration at Brixton Metals, and we have a special guest with us today, Quinton Hennigh of Crescat Capital. Quinton, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
And, hey, today we're here to talk about Brixton's latest hole 201 at the Camp Creek target at Thorn. Gary, why don't you walk us through that hole there?
Sure. Well, welcome everyone for joining. And I'm going to just fire up the screen. And I've got a little overview there, so I'm just going to get into it, start from the beginning. And so just to start at the high level, I guess, what we're looking at here is Camp Creek. This is the intense alteration that we see, which what would have led the early explorers into this area. And just to put it in context of the property, which is now almost 2,900 square kilometers, you can see Camp Creek. I'm just going to put on a little laser pointer so it's easier to see. There's Camp Creek up here, and there's the main camp. This is the Satlaheen River, and this is where I've done most of the work to date. But this is what we're to focus on today is going to be Camp Creek. So just a quick summary of where we are in the program. Drilled about 9,800 meters to date. You can see the numbers there: 4,000 Camp Creek, 4,800 at Trapper, and about 1,000 meters at Outlaw, and over 700 soils, 300 rocks. A fair amount of camp improvements this year. So things are working really well and moving right along. So we announced this hole August 16th, yesterday. This is Camp Creek again, looking down on a plan view, and this hole 201 is what we announced yesterday. So pretty impressive intercept, and really lots of room to grow. I think we're starting to build some volume here on this target. We're currently drilling this hole over here, which is a pretty significant step from 184 and 201, and the collar for 183 as well. And we're starting to see some good indications in the hole. And we have this hole 213, sorry, this pending, another significant step this way, and 202. As well. And we do have a hole planned off the same pad as 202-200, drilling to the southeast, and primarily to extend this hole 162, which only went down to, I don't know, 590 meters or something. Didn't get to depth, and so we still like this target area at depth. Lots of room to expand this target, and we think this whole Camp Creek Porphyry trends, another kilometer off the map here. So we're talking about a 1K by 2 kilometer target area. And then this is the section that we put out in the release, showing the grades here, 967 meters. I mean, almost a kilometer of mineralization here, which is our best hole to date. 365 of 0.7 equivalent, 150 of 0.92 copper equivalent, and then a 40 meter of over 1%. So nice high grade subinterval. And these look like the kind of grades that we're seeing block cave mining scenarios on. So we think we're getting into the economic realm of a block cave scenario. I don't know if you have any questions on that, Quinton, or if you want to fire it over to Christina to.
I guess my first thought is, what is the geometry of the porphyry here? It's interesting how these holes all light up within almost a horizontal orientation there. Is the system tilted at all, or do you have a sense of how it's resting in here?
So we think that the system might be tilted coming from the east. This year we added oriented core to the programs. That's been really helpful with our future planning. And what we're seeing so far, we're seeing mingling of the Porphyry X, which is the mineralized porphyry, along with the hornfels as well. So where we're seeing the highest grade intervals are within the Porphyry X, but we are seeing lots of mineralization in the hornfels. But what we'd like to see is more Porphyry X going forward. So that's kind of why we're currently drilling hole 221, which is an eastern step out to the previous holes, and hoping that we intersect like a wider interval of straight Porphyry X. So what I think that we've seen so far is kind of like the upper part of the tilted porphyry, and we're seeing like splays off of the porphyry. Okay,
so that's interesting. How much of the mineralization is in the hornfels, and in particular, like where would it fall within these holes? Is it up in the upper part of these intercepts, or is it some of this higher grade stuff that you see at depth?
Actually, I have this section here. You can see it's basically, it almost looks interlayered, but it's really the porphyry cutting the hornfels here. You can see the sort of dark pink color here is a Porphyry X, and the sort of green with the lines in it is the hornfels. So we're getting a fair amount of hornfels.
Okay, so that might indicate you're pretty much in the roof of the system there, because you're kind of seeing interfingering of the two. Yeah. Correct?
Yep, I think so. And Christina, do you want me to turn it over to you? Do you have that? Do you have that model that you can show, or no?
Yeah, I can show it in Leapfrog here.
Okay. Let me stop sharing and let Christina pull up her model. And you know, having it come from sort of the east southeast kind of makes sense, because you know the drilling that we've done on the Oban diatreme breccia also has that sort of southeast plunge to it. So
okay,
the whole thing could be coming up that way. At least there's evidence supporting that. It's still early days, I think, on that, but it's looking like it.
Yeah, so just a quick overview. So our camp is located here. You can see the airstrip in the ortho photo. Camp Creek is about 5 kilometers from the Thorn camp. So I'm just going to make the topography a little light. So here we're seeing, this is our drilling here. This is kind of that high sulfidation area that Gary was showing the photo of earlier in the presentation. I'm going to slice through that location. And so the Oban breccia that Gary had just mentioned is this zone right here. So this is where we're seeing lots of chalcopyrite. In the breccia itself, we were seeing clasts of mineralized porphyry. That's kind of what led us to where we're currently at. So if we're looking at all the drill holes as a whole here, if we think that everything's kind of dipping from the east, and depending on how much it's been tilted, we'll see, hopefully with this current hole that we're drilling, we're just getting into where we expect to see the Porphyry X coming in now. So hopefully in the next few days, we have a little bit more information about the orientation of the Porphyry X, but we think that everything's kind of tilted towards, dipping towards the east. It might be a little bit northeast based on some of the orientation measurements that we're getting off the oriented core. And then we also added a TerraSpec to the program this year as well. So we're using all of the alteration vectoring from that to help point us in the right direction. And along with that, we brought on an XRF as part of the program. So we're actually grinding the samples in the same sample intervals that we're sending to the lab. And we're taking that pulp that we're getting from the grinder, and then we're checking the copper assays in real time. So at the end of the day, we kind of know exactly where we're at with different copper grades. I'm just going to show this image here. This is hole 201 that we just released. The assays on the left-hand side here are the XRF assays, and the assays that are on the drill string are the actual assays. So what we're seeing is that the XRF is actually giving us really accurate results, which has been really helpful in the middle of the season. So you don't have to wait 4 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks, I guess, is the kind of the turnaround time now for assays to come back in.
Excellent.
So our current step out hole is this drill pad that we see right here. So that's 221. And that we're looking at about a 300 meter step out, from 201, from the color of 201. And then we're still have assays pending for hole 213, which is this hole that we drilled here. That was a little bit northwest of hole 201.
Yeah, okay. Lots of room to expand this thing.
Okay, all right. Do you think that the breccias you see up high, I can't recall what hole number that is, but do you think? Yeah, okay, that was that original hole you announced like a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Do you think the breccias in that are derived from the same porphyry, or do you think there's a composite porphyry in here?
We're not sure, but one of the things that we're doing this year is because we are seeing molybdenum in the mineralized class, so we're actually going to age date that. We've got age dating on the Porphyry X, which looks like to be the driving mineralizing porphyry unit here, and that came in at 85 million years plus or minus. And we'll see what the date of that moly comes back from the fragment in the diatreme. I think that should peg it to whether it is related to Porphyry X or is it another phase. And that's why we're still thinking, you know, if this thing is not tilted, or even maybe if it still is tilted, you know, normally you've got these diatremes coming either on the apex of the intrusion or, you know, on the near the top of the apex of the intrusion. There's evidence of more diatremes. We were drilling to, if you go to a plan view there, Christina, you can see the drilling that we sort of marched along the Talisker zone. It goes underneath the cover here to the east, but you're getting into this rhyolite flow dome complex that unconformably overlaying all this system. And there's evidence of more diatreme further to the east here under this, about 1 kilometer north of the O-band, as we go further east on that Talisker zone. And it's undercover, so you're just kind of shooting blind on it. So I think there's a big story to unfold here, and we're just starting to get into it.
Okay, what's that hole that drifts like right there in the middle of the screen?
That one?
Oh, that one, yeah, correct. Which hole is that?
That's this one's hole 181.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Yeah, it
Yeah,
does look.
We had a few. Sorry, Quinton.
Looks like you have a lot of room to work with here. Yep.
Yeah, these ones to the far south of the system didn't do much. I think that was 182. So we do see it's obviously closed off a little bit here to the south, but I mean, these are big steps here. Yeah, there's lots of room still to go here.
Very good.
And we think there's a possibility that the Camp Creek is a structure as well, and that everything that we're seeing on the holes on each side of them are offset, which would bring everything to the north side a little bit closer to surface. So that's kind of what we're hoping to see in hole 221.
Yeah, in BC, it seems like a lot of porphyries have kind of an elongate geometry to them. You know, kind of, you know, they're either deformed post emplacement or something. But is there any chance that you're seeing a similar phenomena, like you might have a porphyry that's been stretched out a bit here or something like that?
Yeah, that's something that we're currently playing with. We only have so many deep holes into this so far, so only having a few different pierce points into it makes it a little bit difficult to model, but hopefully by the end of the season, once we get a few more holes into this, we'll be able to unravel that story a little bit better. But so far that seems to be tracking with what we're thinking.
Okay. As far as mineralization, is all the copper in chalcopyrite, or do you see any bornite or any other sulfides?
To date, most of the copper is in chalcopyrite. We're hoping that as we get deeper into the Porphyry X or into wider swaths of the Porphyry X into the center of it, that we'll find some bornite in that area. But to date, most of the mineralization has been in chalcopyrite. And we're seeing disseminated chalco in the Porphyry X, like a bit of disseminated chalco, and then we're also seeing big deep veins that are carrying a lot of chalcopyrite mineralization.
Okay. Very good.
I just wanted to show this. This going back to this, it does show the distribution of the copper. Obviously, we're getting, I think we had 4 or 5 samples that were over limits on the copper, and encouraging a gold, and moly's really picked up down here as well. So pretty consistent group of metals here.
It's remarkably like what you would see at Bingham Canyon or somewhere. Pretty good moly signature to it. A little bit of gold, but you know, mostly moly.
Fair amount of moly. We get these fracture filled moly veins with calco in there, and we get some blotches and chunks in there. There's some. This is some, actually these are some pictures from 213 just to whet the appetite. We are seeing similar style mineralization in there as well.
Excellent.
Yeah.
No,
Nice little moly vein there, cutting the sort of pyrite, chalcopyrite veins.
That's very good looking stuff. Metallurgy should be very good. Looks like you're gonna, that moly's plenty coarse, and the chalcopyrite certainly is. So you should, have you considered doing any met work yet? Or?
Not yet, but some of the work that we did, like just initial review, like at arsenic, for example, we know that the refiners don't like arsenic. We've got a very low arsenic count. In fact, the upper part of the system is more arsenic, but we're below sort of 40, 50, probably in the 20 ppm stuff. So quite low arsenic, which is really positive, I think. But at some point, yeah, we'll start to do some met work and to kind of get a feel of what this thing looks like.
Yeah, should make a very clean concentrate. Good. And do you see any skarn mineralization? Do you see any? Is it all hornfels, or is it pretty much just? Or do you see any skarn development?
Any skarn? No, not yet. No.
Interesting. Really. So I guess the rocks just not reactive enough. Don't have enough carbonate in them or something, or.
Yeah, probably not enough carbonate. At least where, I mean, somewhere in that Suhini pile there are carbonate layers. We have yet to see them here. I wouldn't rule it out that there's not. There could be some carbonate replacement. We just haven't seen it in the pile yet, where we're actively drilling. But
okay.
One of the interesting things is from the Suhini pile. Don't know if I have a picture of it here, but maybe with some of the other holes where we get, this not a bad example here. We get these dark, they were kind of thinking maybe it was a dike or something, but I think it's just a really mafic rich sedimentary unit within the pile that's very reactive, and we get some really high grade copper within that darker unit for some reason. I'm trying to work that out, but yeah. No, it's like a lottery every day. There, you're down here. Not sure what you're gonna get.
My queasy gizzard is you've got a composite porphyry, and I think it's going to be pretty dang big. Looks like it's sitting on its side. If you're seeing that kind of intercalated hornfels and porphyry in those holes, then that's probably the top of something. And if it's the top, then the bigger part of it's going to be off to the side, whether it's east, southeast, whatever, I don't know, but it looks like you're hovering around the tippy top of something.
Yeah, and some of the work that Brixton's in part of that MDRU porphyry study. We're one of the companies involved in that, and they came out to site, and their impression was that this is not a pencil porphyry. This is a large system we're dealing with here.
Yep, I would fully agree. Excellent job. So how much drilling are you, how many more holes do you think you'll get in this season?
That's a good question. Well, we're probably about 800 meters into 221. We've got another hole that we sort of planned off of pad 200. So I think we're in that 2, maybe 3 holes this season here,
Okay.
depending on how the budget comes together here.
You leaving any holes open for further access, or you looking at capping
Well,
one?
I think that's a pad issue, as we found with 201. The original plan was, if you recall, we wanted to re-enter 184 and kick off, wedge off down there, because it still ended in strong mineralization. So it's going to be, if the pads are in good shape, well, I think we'll leave them open for expansion or wedging, you know, as we call them wagon wheels.
Yep.
That's an opportunity. We are doing a lot of HQ on the top part of the hole, so we're leaving the opportunity open to at least come back and kind of wedge off down there somewhere.
Okay, very good. All right. Well, this is looking very, very promising, guys. This is how discoveries are made. This looks like a big one.
Yeah, pretty exciting stuff.
All right. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thanks, Quinton. Thanks, Quinton, for joining us.
Thank you very much.
And if anybody has any questions, they can reach out anytime. Info@Brixton Metals, or visit our site, brixtonmetals.com. Brixton trades triple B on the TSX Venture, BBBXF on the OTCQB. Thanks, everybody.
Bye now.